Governor Tony Evers' sweeping prison overhaul plan is moving forward, but Republicans are still uneasy with the plan and have concerns.
Our Wisconsin State Capitol Bureau Chief was at the Building Commission meeting today and gives us the next steps for the $500 million project.
On Tuesday, the State Bipartisan Building Commission unanimously agreed to release $15 million to begin planning for Governor Evers' prison system overhaul proposal.
We got to get this damn thing done.
The prison overhaul proposal will move forward with Republican hopes of changing the plan later.
What we have before us is unfortunately not a serious proposal, a plan doomed to failure unless some additional steps are taken.
Republicans say they weren't included in discussions that led to the governor's prison plan.
We have a dictator in the East Wing that says, my way or the highway.
But Governor Evers says moving forward, all Republicans are welcome to give input. Governor Tony Evers proposed sweeping prison system reforms in February.
Any plan to close an adult institution must be comprehensive.
Evers' plan includes closing down one of the state's oldest prisons, Green Bay Correctional Institute, and closing the Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake juvenile facilities, plus converting Waupun Correctional Institute from a max security to a medium security prison with vocational training.
This vote was really important.
The calls for reform have been amplified after Wisconsin's Department of Corrections experienced multiple inmate deaths, federal investigations, and a youth prison counselor's death.
DOC is in a world of hurt.
Governor Evers' current plan would take 6 years and cost an estimated $500 million to implement. Since Evers is retiring next year, it would be up to the next governor to carry out the overhaul. From the Wisconsin State Capitol, Vanessa Kelson.
And you heard Vanessa mention a couple of those issues that have come up at some of these prisons: inmate deaths, assaults on staff, rising maintenance costs, and more.